Hello, friends, and welcome to another ritual recording. This one is in honor of our upcoming full moon in Aquarius. Now, this is also, I forgot the fact that our nodes are switching. So, this full moon happening on July 29th is going to also kind of give us some insight into the Aquarian energy and Leo energy that we are going to be kind of working with for the next eclipse season. So this is a ritual that perhaps you can return to throughout the next 2 years to kind of work with this energy, reflect on it more, or during Aquarius season, just anytime you need to tap in. My North Node is in Aquarius, so love that for me. Um, but of course, look at where your North Node is. The nodes are just kind of like doing their thing. I feel like we'll have more conversations about this sort of stuff as far as the nodes when it comes to eclipse season, because um, you know, that's when we start to really work with that energy a little bit more. But with that said, before we get into the actual work, please make sure to grab all your materials that you want for today. I'm going to be just going with a smaller sketchbook just because that's what I'm feeling for today. And we're going to be working with the glyph of Aquarius. So if you're not familiar with that, no worries. I'm going to pull that up later. But let's get into my Google Slides. All right, friends, there she is. There is the actual glyph. But let's get into all the good stuff. So Aquarius, a ritual for the full moon, but this is really just a ritual for connecting with Aquarian energy. So consider. So I'm going to share some intentions. But of course, I want you to already start thinking about your intentions. Of course, we're already kind of gearing up. Saturn turned retrograde yesterday. So if you're a Saturnian bitch like myself, anytime Saturn is doing things, I'll be feeling it. I'll be feeling it. This is what it is to have so many placements in Capricorn. And honestly, on that note, Saturn has typically been the ruler of Aquarius as well. So some of our intentions today are to connect with Aquarius through symbols and art, to deepen our connection in preparation with the full moon or any shifts happening astrologically, and to reflect on the energy of Aquarius and open up to what we can learn. So what is Aquarius energy? These are just some of the words, phrases, things to think about generally when we're thinking about this sign. The alien. Anytime I know someone is an Aquarius, they are so fascinating because as someone, Aquarian energy is very different than Capricorn energy. So I respect it in a very, wow, that's just so different from me sort of way. You know what I mean? If Capricorn is the sign that builds the house, Aquarius is the energy that opens all the doors and windows and throws everything out of the house and says, this is not what's serving it. So I think lots of Aquarians feel like it's harder to relate to others because they can also be very objective to see things from the bigger picture or from the larger scope, sometimes to a fault, not noticing the details that need to be taken care of. But they are humanitarian in that they can understand why people feel a certain way, but they can also think about like, well, this is irrational to feel this sort of way. So to see things from the bigger picture, the water bearer is the symbol of Aquarius. And on that note, Um, we can also relate that to the star. Of course, the star in the tarot is where we see this person, usually a human figure, 1 foot in the water, 1 foot out of the water, pouring from two different jugs, one onto the earth and one into the water, known as the collective. So this is an air sign, but that is the symbol of this air sign is the water bearer. And so we can kind of think about if we're relating back to the humanitarian, washing away, allowing things to be, releasing what doesn't serve, right? It's the second oldest sign in the zodiac. It is smack dab between Capricorn and Pisces in the astrological wheel. Of course, it is the opposite and across from Leo. Hence why we are in Leo season and we have a full moon in Aquarius. Um, and so this is also to say that this is a sign that has collective energy into it. It is often uh, connected to technology and large scale communication. Think 11th house, how we communicate, how we can be perceived, seen, and connect with others, right? So this is already a lot of themes to kind of think about. And so on this note of going over this like very quick and not even long list of things related to Aquarius, I want you to just take a deep breath here. Into the nose, hold it at the top, and let it out. We are landing here to create some art and to connect with this energy, this fixed sign, this star, this objective humanitarian communication, right? I often imagine the sign of Aquarius as this entity looking down on Earth, not necessarily like some sort of God, but like an alien looking down and objectively going, well, that makes sense, or that doesn't make sense. And kind of understanding how things might fit differently with one another, right? So already, if you haven't, you know, started thinking about an intention for this moment, I want to encourage you to maybe write one down that relates to um, these themes of Aquarian energy. And as we're kind of like thinking about and ruminating on these ideas, um, where's Aquarius in your chart? I have a Venus. My Venus is in Aquarius, so I feel like Aquarian energy really maps out my value system, what I value. Of course, my North Node is also in Aquarius, so what I'm working towards is like understanding that better, I think. Now, maybe are you an Aquarius? Think about those questions. Where is Aquarius in your chart? Even if your Aquarian house, if the house that has Aquarius in it is empty, what house is it? My Aquarius energy is in, depending on the house system, the seventh house or the sixth house. It kind of goes between the two. So even just reflecting on that, these are things that we want to ground into in order to just deepen our connection to this energy, because you don't have to have Aquarian planets or planets in Aquarius to have that energy. This exists in all of our charts. I don't have planets in Taurus, but I know that my Taurus is the 11th house. So that means certain themes for me, right? And of course, this can be something that you revisit later on as well. You don't have to like have this figured out, but I want you to just kind of sit with these themes because this is the theme of our sign today and really reflect on that. If that means like pausing this video and maybe making some notes to just reflect back on, feel free to do that. And we're going to drop in some intention setting. So you don't have to write your intention down, but if you have like a word that you want to like just use as your centering word, uh your theme. I have a word I'm gonna be working with today, and I just wrote it down. Let's just take a second to drop in fully here and put feet on the ground, hands over heart. Just take a second here, close the eyes. Again, you don't have to write anything down. It's only if you want to, if you feel called to. Taking some deep breaths in and out. Setting that intention for yourself. Even if the intention is to just be here now with your creative practice. Keeping with the breath. Coming back to yourself, to your heart, to that word if you have one, and just to your body. That is your intention, is to be in the body. Come to an even breath, just kind of focusing on the sensations in the body after taking those few deep breaths. How do you feel? See if you can stand a little taller, sit a little taller. Just feel your shoulders roll back and your chest kind of open up to your hands. Allow your shoulders to be heavy here. Let's take a deep breath in through the nose and let it out with a sigh. Allow yourself to just kind of let the hands float to the lap and the eyes to flutter open. As I promised, this is our glyph, our image for the sign of Aquarius. So what I want you to do now is just simply draw this glyph somewhere on your paper, your canvas, whatever you're working with today. It doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be small. There are no rules. Please remember that. Be the alien. Be weird. You're allowed. No one's going to stop you. Certainly not I. Take a second here with your glyph on your paper and sit with it. What words are coming up for you? Write those down if you would like. Let's take a second. Study the marks you have made. Remember, it doesn't have to be perfect. Notice if you are judging yourself and your choices based on where you placed your image, your symbol. Remember what we talked about earlier, the alien, the humanitarian. How can we look with more objectivity? How can we just observe better and be present? When you feel ready, I want you to just start drawing. There are no wrong or right methods here. You need to start over, always do that. And of course, have fun. Remember, these reminders are going to be up on the screen while you work. I'm going to work with you for a little bit, and then we'll check in and close out. So there's no stress here. There is only being present with the energy of Aquarius and the magic that it holds within us. Everything that you create is for the exploring. How can you see things through the eyes of Aquarius? With objectivity, with openness, and curiosity. Anyway, go. Don't forget to rotate your paper as you're working. A little bit of a voice to see things more objective. take a second to just zoom out in case you haven't. And take a second to just kind of move your shoulders, reconnect to your body. So stretching or anything that feels right in this moment. Especially if you're like when you work like I do. Um, but yeah, observe. And going back to what we talked about in the themes of Aquarius, what came up for you in the art? What came up with you for you as you're looking at this work that has come through you? What are your new takeaways working with this energy, working with this cosmic energy that is Aquarius? Because I do think this is a sign we'll need to connect with more and more in these eclipses coming up, and just understanding what this energy has to offer us in wisdom and all that good stuff. But as always, friends, take those deep breaths as you're working. Don't forget that every mark is sacred. And until next time, I hope you take care of yourself, make lots of art. A bit of a heads up, I might be fairly late with the prompts for next month, but they'll be there. You get to work on those ASAP. Some more, because it's just been a slow, weird summer, but we're all in that together, right? Again, thank you so much for being here with me in your creative practice, showing up and engaging with the work, even if it's as simple as drawing a glyph and then whatever the fuck else comes up in your mind. There is no wrong, there is no right, there is simply our experiences as creatives. So, happy creating, friends. Thank you so much. I'll see you next time.